My first question is for Polina. So these days, research is becoming very interdisciplinary, and then we find the opportunity to expand our research landscape by hiring people outside of the traditional material science realm. And at the same time, we don't want to dilute our identity too much because we feel like we need to cover the basic corners in material science. So if you have any experience looking for this balance, we would like to hear about your suggestions.
Thank you so much for this question, which has to do maintaining disciplinary rigor in material science and engineering while also introducing intellectual infusions from potentially disparate fields. And I can tell a little bit from my own educational experience. I was trained as a material science and engineer PhD, and then I pursued my postdoctoral training in neurobiology at Stanford, actually. And having both the rigorous training in fundamentals, but at the same time training in a different discipline, gave me an ability to execute research that was grounded in material science and engineering, but at the same time had applications and also has drawn concepts from another field, allowing us to push the boundaries of what material science can be and where it can find applications and make impact in society as well as other fields. So I think it's, to bring it all together, it is important to look for scientists and engineers who have the disciplinary rigor of material scientists and maintaining that educational rigor so that they can teach and transfer this to future generations of students, but who also potentially ventured and acquired additional training either through collaborations or through postdoctoral research in those other fields that help us push the boundaries and expand the influence of material science and engineering on society.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your great insight. Okay, my next question is for Alberto. We're trying to think of the next research areas that we should strategically promote. And there are lots of talks about AI or what's going to come next. Is this going to be marrying AI to like other more physical activities, or is it going to be something else? So if you have any insight about this problem, we would like to hear about it.
Yeah, thanks for the question. First of all, in many ways, it's a difficult question to answer. The future is very hard to predict. Some of it you can get from the news, though. So you mentioned AI, so there's the obvious one, which is AI for materials. But then you can broaden and think, what's going to power AI? AI is going to require a lot of power. So, you can think of that aspect of research. And another aspect is try to make computing more efficient. So materials for efficient computing, brain-like computing. And then if you broaden to computing, there's quantum computing that's taken off. So those are all areas everyone's talking about. And then if you think of energy and heavy industry, decarbonizing heavy industry, I think is a good area to look into. And there are some industries that really haven't changed in many, many years. I'm thinking, for example, of cement. I think there's actually excellent opportunities in cement. Cement really is a material science problem that has been dealt by civil engineers mostly. So I think, but cement is a micro/nanostructure. I think there's some good opportunities there. Decarbonizing steel making, this has actually become fairly fashionable nowadays, but still I think there's areas for expansion there. And then from there you can think towards advanced manufacturing. So these I think are all interesting areas. Critical materials is another one everyone's talking about. So extractive metallurgy, keep going back to the origins of material science. All our departments, I think, almost all of them, started as metallurgy and mining. Actually started as mining first, then metallurgy and mining and so on. So it's interesting, it's almost going back. Having said that, these are things that are in the news, so that's like a 10-year horizon. But when you think of hiring, you're hiring someone for a longer time. So I think you should also allow some space for someone who's quirky, interesting, smart, with original ideas, because they might be 20 years ahead of the curve, and you need a few of them in a department as well. As usual, it's a question of balance. You can't have a department of all quirky people. but you cannot also try to be too strategic. I think that closes out doors that could be incredibly fruitful. So that's a little bit the challenge of trying to predict the future, is some of it you can see, and what you cannot see is actually probably going to be the most exciting part. And as an anecdote, I can tell you our Dean of Engineering 5 years ago asked all the chairs to write down how departments should be redrawn based on where they see technology going. And we read their answers from 5 years ago, and no one had predicted AI, no one had predicted autonomous mobility, and these are all huge themes in engineering. That shows we're just bad at predicting the future.
Thanks very much for sharing that story. I think it's really important to acknowledge that we won't be able to predict everything. Okay, so my next question is for Lianzhou. Students, obviously, they want to find paths for success, and we have a lot of strengths, like from the school perspective, also from the department perspective. So if you have any advice for our undergraduate and graduate students, how should they try to take advantage of the strengths of our department?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think the student and they should feel very lucky and to be at this university. I would say three things. And the first thing is from the school and department level. And it's very rare to have like the metallurgy, ceramic, and polymer within one department. And I think this department is uniquely positioned itself, and so covering all these three main area in the material research discipline. I think the students certainly can take advantage of the breadth of the knowledge, and in these three very important area, and to learn how to specialize themselves and for the future career path. So the second thing I would say is the faculty, and this department have outstanding faculty, and so the track record is very, very impressive. They also have very strong link with the international leading institutions, and so they not only can provide opportunity for doing great research, but also they have actually have the strong link, the channels actually for the student to connect with the international partners. And the third thing I want to say is the department has a very strong link with the leading industry, and then both locally and internationally. This also provide a wonderful opportunity for the student to be partnered with the industry and to realize their dream, like to be the CEO of a big industry, and also to be the top researchers in the field.
All right. Thanks for your great advice. I'm sure the students will appreciate this great advice. Okay. So my next question is for Jennifer, and there are a lot of students who really wish and dream of collaborating internationally, and also with the renowned scholars, but they sometimes are very shy, and they sometimes feel like they don't have much to offer, that they're like asking for a favor when they're asking for a collaboration. So I think it would be nice if we could hear about some reasons why you would be motivated to collaborate with students from SNU.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say that we as a committee, we were amazed with the undergraduate students. They are a powerhouse. They show actually so much energy and great ideas that are around. So it would be, I think, our privilege to work with them and our honor. So they don't have to feel shy. Actually, I think we want to empower them to really come forward and dare. And what I mean by that is, first of all, to have a good culture within the department, to exchange more, also the faculty supporting the young students for collaborations. And then also dare, for instance, when they plan to go abroad for graduate studies, to get all the information needed to apply for graduate schools, may it be in Korea, may it be outside of Korea, and know that they're really excellent students. So this is, I think, the most important thing I can say. And then I think really to also dare to make contacts. They can totally write about an exciting science question that they have to any one of us, and I'm sure I speak for most of our colleagues by saying that if there's a good science question, most colleagues will answer. Also, if it is about career advice, for instance, don't hesitate to hold back, and we really encourage to globally get experiences, consider fellowships to go also abroad for a while, indulge in other cultures and come back. And just want to rephrase that this would be very honorable for everyone working with them. So there's no feeling of being too shy. Just go forward and just do it. And we're delighted to see what comes out of it. It will be great.
Thanks for the great encouragement. I think students will be able to now be a little bit more confident when they reach out.